Transfuse Health is an illithid power in Baldur's Gate 3 that allows you to give your health to another character. When you use the ability, you take damage equal to half your hit points, and then you heal any target for the same amount. On its surface, the ability doesn't seem very good. It costs you your entire action to use and doesn't even result in a net HP increase for your party. So you've wasted almost your entire turn just to move HP around. So how do we make this ability useful? First, we'll need to make it more action efficient. We don't want to spend our whole turn doing just this. And second, we'll have to build our character in such a way that the HP transfer effect is actually a net positive for our party rather than just a break even. The first of these steps is actually pretty straightforward. If we get the Awakened passive buff, we can activate all of our illithid powers as a bonus action instead of an action. This buff is really powerful, but it's very easy to miss on your first playthrough. To get it, you need to hop into the Zaith'isk in the Githyanki Kresh, and then pass a series of saving throws. The hardest one is a DC 18, so make sure to buff your saves beforehand. You can do this with the Cantrip Resistance, with any Bless effect, or with the Paladin's Aura of Protection. Some classes also give you advantage on some of these saves. Barbarian is one of them. I don't know if there are any others. Oh, and if Lae'zel tries to get into the Zaith'isk instead of you, tell her to screw off. Only your main character can get the buff anyways, and the checks are much harder if she's the one that gets in. Once you have the buff, you can transfuse health as a bonus action and then save your action for something else. That's already made this ability much better by making it a much more efficient trade in terms of action economy. But what about the HP transfer effect? Well, we can turn this break-even effect into something that's net positive for us with a few build choices. For one thing, this ability synergizes really well with weapons that have some sort of self-healing attached. The earliest one you can get is the Shattered Flail. This weapon will heal you for 1d6 hit points every time you hit an enemy, but it does have a drawback. If you don't hit an enemy each turn, your character has to succeed on a DC 12 Wisdom save, or they'll go mad for 2 turns. And being mad is pretty bad. Your character is out of control and hostile to everyone around them. Lots of people overlook this weapon at first, myself included, but it's actually a lot better than you might think it is. For starters, the drawback actually isn't as bad as it looks. As long as you put it on a character with extra attack and make a point of attacking every round, you'll probably never trigger it. On my Dark Urge run, I'm currently level 9, and I've been using this weapon exclusively since level 5, and I've only gone mad 1 time. As for the healing, it averages 3.5 healing per hit, which is alright, but it's not terribly impressive. To make it really shine, we need to wear the Periapt of Wound Closure, an amulet that will maximize all the healing that we receive. With the amulet, the Flail will heal a flat 6 hit points on every hit, and that can really add up, especially when you start adding in cleave attacks that have multiple attack rolls. The best early game ability in this category is the Wildheart Barbarian's level 3 ability, Tiger's Bloodlust. With Tiger's Bloodlust, we can hit 3 enemies on every swing. That means that once we get extra attack at level 5, we can in theory trigger the Flail 6 times per turn. That'll heal us for 36 hit points. If we add in haste or a potion of speed, we can push that to a whopping 72 hit points, which is basically enough to full heal every single turn. That's so much healing that while we're raging, we can often heal faster than our enemies can even hurt us. This is especially true given that raging also gives us resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Now, ordinarily, healing when you're at full health would just basically go to waste. But that's why this weapon is really good with Transfuse Health. It allows us to pass this healing to our allies as well. But we can actually go even further than that. Since we're already playing as a Wildheart Barbarian, we're going to pick up this level 6 ability right here, the Stallion variant of Aspect of the Beast. This ability gives us temporary HP equal to twice our Barbarian level whenever we dash. So right when you get the ability at level 6, it gives us 12 temporary hit points. The important thing to note about this ability is that it's limitless. If we run out of temporary hit points between combats, we can just dash to get them back. It also helps us cushion the damage that we take when we pass our hit points to allies. Transfuse Health calculates its damage based off of our regular hit points, but when we take the damage, it hits our temporary HP first. So we can basically take our free temporary hit points and turn them into regular hit points for our party members. Since dashing gives us some hit points, we want to be able to do it as a bonus action, so we're going to multiclass into Rogue for our next 3 levels, taking Thief as our subclass. This gives us access to Cunning action for a bonus action dash, as well as a second bonus action. Our Barbarian now has insane survivability. Without spending any resources at all, we can self-heal for 24 hit points every single turn. We get 12 temporary hit points from our dash, and then 12 healing from our 2 attacks. But if we're hasted, raging, and are able to hit 3 enemies per turn with Tiger's Bloodlust, then we're almost unkillable. our enemies would have to deal 84 damage to us per turn just to keep up with our healing. And if they're dealing physical damage to us, which they usually are, we're resistant to it while we're raging, so we can effectively tank 168 damage each turn.
Now that's a lot of damage!
This character is primarily about absorbing damage, not about dealing it. But we're a barbarian, damn it, so we need to be at least pretty good at killing things. The important thing to remember about Tiger's Bloodlust is it only halves our weapon damage. Any bonus damage gets applied in full to each enemy in the cleave. So if you add enough damage riders, this character also becomes a solid AoE damage dealer as well. Here's a non-exhaustive list of some bonus damage you can add to this character that's pretty easy to fit in the build. The ring Caustic Band can add 2 acid damage to every swing. And since you already want to be dashing frequently, you can wear the Linebreaker boots to gain Wrath. This condition increases our melee damage by 1 for each turn remaining to a maximum of +7. Another option is Psionic Overload to get 1d4 psychic damage on each attack. This one works especially well since we can already use our Illithid powers as a bonus action. And finally, we can use the Drake Throat Glaive. You can cast its elemental weapon ability on the Flail by dropping the Flail, targeting it while it's on the ground, and then picking it back up. If you add this together, your Tiger's Bloodlust will cause a beautiful rainbow of damage effects. It's not the most damage we could be doing with the Barbarian, but who cares? We're not in any hurry to kill our enemies. We're happy to take an extra turn or 2 of combat, since our enemies would struggle to kill us even if they had 10. Oh no, Gale is almost downed again? Whatever will we do? Just kidding, he's back to full health.